Hey, thank you for joining me. Today, I want to just talk a little bit about walking the path of least resistance, right? And four indicators that you're in flow in your business. Now, it's interesting. A lot of people, look in the mirror and they kind of doubt themselves, and they go through the business life in a kind of an up and down, process where sometimes, they're really on fire, they're all full of beans and they're feeling great. And then, there's other days where you don't even want to get up out of bed. And I have to tell you, every single business owner that I know experiences that as well, me included, right? I mean, I sometimes I've woken up and gone, why is this so hard? Why is this, doesn't matter what I do, it feels like nothing's falling into place. Or, how come the competition looks like that? They've kind of got it easy, right? So regardless of where you are in business, I've worked with business owners that are, multi, millionaires, some businesses that are, 20, 30, $40 million plus, all the way down to people that are in the startup phases. And regardless of where you are in business, we have this, right? We have this feeling of resistance, or, in actual fact, it's more than the feeling of resistance. We can see, that everything, becomes hard in business itself, whether it means it's sales, it's marketing, conversion, staff, whatever it may be. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about understanding energy, and also understanding flow within business to counteract the resistance itself. And it's simple. So as humans, we've already got an inbuilt mechanism, that's, if you want to call it, part of maybe our, spiritual DNA, if you want to think about it like that. And, the way that it communicates with us is through, our hormonal system. So from that point of view, the way that we feel about certain things is kind of a guide of whether we're in flow or we're not in flow. And, you may have heard the saying, I get this gut feeling about it. And the gut feeling is literally, a change in hormonal chemical interaction within the body that then creates this effect to us that we feel. We don't necessarily can touch it or taste it or do any of that stuff, but you can definitely feel it, right? So, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about kind of some states of flow, so you get a better understanding of maybe four common areas that you need to look at within business. So here's the first one. I think morning routine is really, really critical. In other words, I think, morning routine, how you get up out of bed, how you wake up in the morning is very, very critical. Some people, reach straight away for the phone, or they're woken up by a really crazy alarm, right? All of a sudden it feels like it's there's an there's an air raid going on outside, right? It's really loud. It puts you into a state of resistance straight away because the body feels like, an intruder's broken in or something along those lines, right? Then, especially if you've been, burning the midnight oil from the night, or a few days before that, your body feels tired straight away. You're into a state of resistance straight away. Some other people in the morning routine, before they can have 3 cups of coffee, they're still not even awake. So once again, from a state of flow, we're feeling kind of hard to get going because we're needing those type of stimulus to kind of get up and going. So one of the things I always like to say in the morning, don't look at your mobile phone pretty much until you get to work, right? If you can do that, you're already kind of in the zone, where you're at. And something to add to that is, if you're going to look at it, just have a quick look, bang, put it back down again. Everything is going to sort itself out. It just changes the flow state of who we are. Number 2, I think in the morning, in order to gain flow and to, move away from resistance of feeling struggly or sluggy in the morning, is to get out there and move around, right? Now, 30 minutes, you don't need any more than that. It could be a 20-minute brisk walk. You can do some sit-ups, some push-ups, some squats, right? Just get some blood flowing, some juices flowing around you from stomach, juices from night before. All of that type of stuff is really, really good. It cleans the blood out. It makes you feel good, fills your lungs full of air. It's kind of something to get going. So morning routine is really, really critical. There's 2 simple things to do. If you can move away from coffee and go more to teas as a less of a stimulant, still a little bit of a stimulant, but that's really good. And if you can drink maybe 3 or 4 cups of water, warm water with lemon is really good for the body itself. It just gets you once again into a flow. Flow two around business, or resistance around business, is sales and marketing. It's reasonably simple to understand this. If whatever you're doing in marketing isn't working, obviously you've got a state of resistance there. So you just kind of have to, stop, look at it for a second and go, well, why is all this stuff not working? Is it that I'm, marketing to the wrong client? Is it that I don't understand enough about marketing, kind of fumbling my way through this? Is it that I haven't spent enough money on acquiring the lead? Is it that I don't even know exactly who I'm marketing to and I'm trying to hope for the best per se? So that's kind of around marketing. Around sales, I think it's also important. So when you look at stuff that you go, well, all of these people that we've got don't seem to be buying a lot of stuff. We keep on showing our stuff to people. They're not really receptive to this. Or maybe, everyone's kind of saying, well, I'll have a think about it, or I'll, money's a little bit too tight, or whatever it may be. This is a simple indicator of, A, you're not good enough to, sell your product, so you need to become better at what you do, right? That's a state of resistance to shift to a state of flow. Or number two is you need to get in front of the right people, right? So if you get in front of the right people with the right product, if it's positioned in the right way, you're going to have a much better opportunity to convert your product, right? So those two are really important. I strongly suggest, if you're not that great at selling, it'd be great to read a book called How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. Really good book, old school. It basically breaks it down into stages. If they say this, you say that. Here's how to position your product. Super easy. It'll get you back into a state of flow. Really important. Flow three, or resistance three, is communication. Some staff members, unfortunately, or clients, it doesn't matter what you say, they're just not right. They feel a bit abrasive. They're just not in line with you. Doesn't matter how hard you try to, be cool with them. It just doesn't happen. So you want to kind of avoid those type of people. And unfortunately, a lot of times they're not even aware that they're being these type of people, because no one kind of sets out to go, hey, I'm going to be super abrasive today, right? It doesn't work out. Some people, it's just, intrinsically built into them, and that's, just the way that they are, or that's how they are, or how they come across. A lot of people kind of in a fear state, which then creates them to be a little bit fearful, standoffish, abrupt, which then we see as abrasive, and it's, it's hard to communicate. So one of the things I think around communication is just to understand, if somebody's got a strong opinion, well, just to understand where that's coming from, to understand that it's their way of communicating, right? It doesn't have to be your way, but it's maybe their way of communicating. So how do you, understand what they're trying to get to? I remember, my parents, right, and, all the rellos, just as discussion, it's, it's just a whole screaming match, right? That's their thing, right? But hey, they all got along. This is how it was, and they loved each other. It's just the way that they, argument was kind of cool discussion, right? Think of it like that, right? So, getting your communication right is really important. It's also understanding, the words that come out of your mouth, to see if they're truthful to you, if they feel in line with who you are. So, and you're not trying to be somebody else. That's really important. Every time you try to be somebody else other than you, it's always going to feel like a state of resistance rather than flow. So super important. We've got money. I mean, money's a really important aspect as well. Where it comes to money, state of resistance is that money's always hard to come by. You spend it easy. It's hard to save. It's hard to understand how to make money. It's hard for you to, generate more. Any of these type of things. These are usually resistant states, right? So it's important to make sure that you first of all acknowledge it, right? To go, well, maybe this is, me, and this is kind of, who it is at the moment. So how do I change that around? People that have, really good money energy or money flow, it's easy for them to make money, or it's easy for them to come across money because they're in line with it, whichever way that may be. And a lot of people go, oh, they're just lucky. Well, maybe it is lucky, or maybe that they're in a state of flow. So one thing to have a look at around this is what type of inbuilt resistance barriers have you got that you've already subconsciously kind of programmed. So some people have, have got a fear around money or a fear around success, or if I spend money, I become scared, right? So automatically that brings on even more resistance. Or, if I get a lot of money, am I going to change? Am I going to be this person that people can't even recognize, or all of these type of things. So once again, it puts you into a resistant state. So the way that you understand flow in money is to be okay with it, is to understand that, money actually flows in and out of you. That's just the way it is, right? We never get to hold on to it. We hold on to a little bit, but we got to pass on some of the rest of it, or else the energy doesn't, continue its cycle per se. So understanding how you are in a state of flow is really, really critical. All right. So what I would suggest is, just write these down. Feel how you feel that when you're in a state of flow. Write it down, or a state of resistance, and say, hey, around communication, maybe I feel a bit resistant, or maybe it's high on the resistance. You could even give yourself a score rating of like a 1 to 5. 5 means that it's super high. When I come in front of, selling, I feel like it's a number 4 resistance. Or, where I come into money, it's a number 1, no resistance. It feels really good. It's flowy for me. And it feels cool. Or maybe for you, it's, the morning routine that it just comes normally. That's a easy flow for you. So once you write those down, you can start to recognize where you're at and then start to, work on it from there. Okay, hope you like this episode. Keep tuned. There's always new episodes that are coming on. And remember, the only way is